Well, joining me now, as he does each and every week, is Sky News Australia's media watchdog columnist, the one and only Gerard Henderson, here on the desk in person.
In person. Thank you very much.
Now, let's talk all things Linton Besser, because I think he's got some things to say about Pauline Hanson. Let's have a grab.
Having her say has never been an issue for the one-time peddler of fish and chips from Ipswich, who, after decades in the public eye, is now one of our most enduring politicians, and one whom the media has always struggled to get a handle on.
Are you xenophobic? Please explain.
Yeah, there is a sneering undertone in his analysis, and the thing is, you know, you got about 30% of the country that has signalled they would vote for her. Then we did polling on the Sky News Pulse that said up to half the country would consider it, seriously consider it. So it's the deplorables. It's the Hillary Clinton deplorables.
What it is this what I've called for years, this left-wing sneering, which is not clever, it's just sneering, it's looking down on people, and it's hugely snobbish. I mean, what's wrong with owning a fish and chip shop? Because if you own one, you employ people, and what's wrong with Ipswich? But Linton Besser thinks it's an argument. I mean, I'm not a great supporter of Pauline Hanson and One Nation. I never have been, but I recognise they have support. But Linton Besser's going at her because she ran a fish and chip shop and was in Ipswich. I mean, this is just extraordinarily an act of snobbery. And with 10 people working on a program that goes to air for 15 minutes once a week for 40 weeks a year, there should have been someone in the outfit who would say, hang on, that's not appropriate. That's a silly thing to say. And also, you're also attacking all her supporters, which are growing, so that's counterproductive. So it's not even clever politically from Besser's point of view or from the people who run Media Watch at the ABC.
Yeah, I think that they would sit around and have this meeting and be like, oh, we've got to be tough on her because she's gaining support. I think that's kind of how they operate.
And they don't meet anyone else. I mean, they meet themselves. I mean, they're a conservative-free zone and they all meet themselves all the time. So when you go outside of the ABC and that, I mean, I know a lot of people who would vote for Pauline Hanson. I know people who won't vote for Pauline Hanson, but you've got to mix widely. They only talk to one another, and that's the problem of being a conservative-free zone.
Okay, speaking of groupthink, let's have a listen to this comment about the State of the Union and Marxism.
The president was really describing himself when he's talking about corruption and self-dealing. This is a family profiteering business and a cabinet profiteering business and an allies profiteering business. And he's, it's crony capitalism at its most blatant. And he also, when he says, can you believe it? He's giving you a roadmap to his own words.
Trump and Republicans, the broader far-right movement in the United States, see Trump's presidential victory as a once-in-a-generation victory for them. You know, they hold really all of the levers of power in the United States, the Supreme Court, Congress, and the executive branch. And it's very clear, and Trump made it clear once again tonight, that they will not give that up easily.
It's just Marxist groupthink.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a problem with either of Bruce Shapiro or Emma Shorter's been on Radio National, those clips come from. But they're never contested. There's no debate. Shapiro comes on regularly. He's the American commentator, and he's an avowed leftist, almost a Marxist. Emma Shorters works for the Australia Institute. That's an avowedly left-wing organisation. But also she's wrong. I mean, if you take the final point there, saying that there's some kind of that Trumpites control the Supreme Court, the Congress and the executive. Well, they don't, because in the recent Supreme Court case, as you know, on tariffs, Trump went down 6-3.
Wait, so are you saying the system works and hasn't been corrupted?
Worked. And that's the whole point. And in Congress as well. I mean, Trump's got a narrow majority most of the time, but he doesn't have a majority all of the time. So the idea that from the White House, even if you don't like him, the idea of the White House that Trump is actually controlling all these things is simply delusional. But it's never contested by the presenters. Sally Sarah was the last one. David Marr was the earlier one with Shapiro. Sally Sarah with Shorters. But they don't come back and say, oh, hang on. Let us let it all go.
This is where the left disgraces itself, in my view, because these are just conspiracy theories. And until all of this is proven, you're publishing commentary suggesting that there's this kind of totalitarian dictator grip on America. And it's just not accurate. And you can be critical of Trump for so many things, but that is a false characterization. That's not reality.
Well, Trump is frustrated because he would want more influence and more powers. Most politicians would in a democratic society. But he doesn't even believe that. But the left who attack him, they believe that. And it's just completely delusional.
Yeah, well, it's the Australian Institute as well. So what
Yeah.
do we expect? Now, let's talk David Marr, the ABC. Again, this groupthink. Let's play the grab.
Isn't it interesting how communists and others like that hate jokes?
Yes, that's right. It is really the weak spot of authoritarians around the world, from China to, dare I say it, Washington, D.C. at the moment.
They're awfully thin-skinned.
They are.
So there's a comparison of the Chinese dictator, Xi, and the US president. And the allegation is that they're much the same. You can throw Putin in as well. I mean, there's Xi, Putin, and then Trump, and they're all the same. And again, this is simply delusional because, as we know, it's nothing like that. Because I mean, if you're a dissenter in the United States and you can't stand Trump, you end up on CNN or MSNBC criticising him. If you're a dissenter, like in Hong Kong or in mainland China, you go to prison for up to 20 years for laughing at the leadership. This is sort of people like this have no awareness of how society works, and because they talk to one another all the time and they don't talk to other people who sort of work around the system.
And again, it's this alarmist view of reality, and there are many things that you can be critical of, but it's kind of this broad sweeping brush. In my view, it waters down words as well. And if a dictator is just anybody whose politics you don't like, or kind of has a more aggressive policy, then what word are you going to use when you're actually reporting on a real dictator? And I think I love the way that you point that out, because there are some really evil monsters out there, right? Yeah. And to compare them, it, to me, seems irresponsible.
And the other point is it's insulting to the victims. I mean, if you're a victim of the Russian dictatorship, the Chinese dictatorship, Iran, you shouldn't be compared with, or North Korea, you shouldn't be compared with people who live in the United States, live very well, live on good salaries and have a lot of freedom to say what they like. It's just dishonest and offensive.
Well said, Gerard Henderson. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.